Oh my god, my leggings match my mug. Cute. Hi folks, it's me Michaela and welcome back to my channel. I am here today to try and convince you to read some of my all-time favorite books. This is obviously more like recent from when I kind of started getting back into reading, and it's a constantly evolving list as I keep reading more books. I just kind of decided, like, let's go through my shelves, let's pick out some of the books that I really love and talk about them. And here we are. Grab a little warm beverage, cozy up, let's go. So the first books I have here, there's actually two. Okay, they go together. And it's The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. Why is my chair turning when I'm not wanting it to turn? Both of these books were 5 stars. I actually have a reading vlog where you can watch it either with spoilers or without if you want to watch that. Both of these are 5-star reads. They're so good. These are part of Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse. They kind of take place after the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but you really don't need to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy to enjoy this. I think that if you really want to like see all the Easter eggs and like understand all of the magic kind of before going into this, you can read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. And the Shadow and Bone trilogy is like good, but like Six of Crows is amazing. What we're doing here is you're following multi-POV fun little gang of ruffians who are going on a gigantic, fantastical, amazing heist. I love a heist story, and Six of Crows is potentially my favorite heist story that I've read. Now, for someone who also loves heist stories, I feel like I haven't actually read that many heist stories, but I adored this. This is so good. The characters are so good. The magic is fun. The heisting is fantabulous. The planning in it, like, it's so good, so good. And it's great to see all like the character development and the relationship development while they're going on this big heist mission. And then it leads you into Crooked Kingdom, which still has heisting, but not in like the same way. It's kind of like revamped. You're still following the same characters. Things have escalated. Things are heightened. More heisting is happening. And so it's like a continuation of this story while also kind of being its own. And it's so good. Honestly, Six of Crows is like a must read for me. This is considered YA fantasy. However, it doesn't read really young. So even if you're not a YA fantasy kind of person, I would highly suggest reading this series because it's so good. The next group of books is just like Taylor Jenkins Reid, just as an author. I've only read 2 of her books, which is Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. But I adored both of these books. I gave both 5 stars. I don't know why I'm saying the ratings. Like, basically, like, these are all my favorite books, so obviously they all have 5 stars. I don't know why I'm giving you ratings. These are both amazing books for like slight historical, because it's like not historical in the sense of like 1800s. It's like historical as in like it was like 50 years ago, you know? You feel me? But if you want to read historical literary fiction, the formatting of how the story is told is quite different. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is told through interview and then some regular kind of like prose. And then Daisy Jones and the Six is actually told completely through dialogue. There's like clips of multiple interviews put together to tell one chronological story, and it's amazing. If you want to read about fake famous people that are written so well that you think they're real famous people, these are the books for you. These are the books for you. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Okay, we're talking famous Hollywood actress who's like, she's like 90 now. She's ancient, okay? She's still fabulous. And she's finally agreed to sit down and give an interview of her life story. This is like telling everything from how she got into Hollywood straight to like, you know, when she retires. And it's told in different sections based off of each of the husbands that she had. Chapters of her life based off of who her husband was at the time. And she famously had 7 husbands. Right? Daisy Jones and the Six. Okay, we're talking like 70s, 60s, 70s, rock and roll, sex, drugs, rock and roll. We're following Daisy Jones and then the band The Six, the story of how they got together, how they became the most popular band of the time, and then how they fell apart. And they're so good. So good. If you haven't read these books yet, like, you need to read them. So my next favorite book, Wildfire by Hannah Grace. And then so like as a caveat, I've added Icebreaker because these are a part of the same series. But these are like college sports romances. And I liked Icebreaker, but Wildfire is where it is at for me. But I'm like including Icebreaker because you kind of like maybe want to read this before you read this. Plot wise they're not connected, but like character wise they're kind of connected. So like characters in this that are introduced in this come up in this, so it's good to kind of know them from this book to read this book. You get me? You feel me? We're talking college, hockey, sports romance, but it's not taking place at college. It's taking place at summer camp because Russ and Aurora have a one-night stand. Okay, think they're never gonna see each other again, and then they both show up as camp counselors at the same summer camp, and then they're forced to spend the entire summer together. Need I say more? It's such a quick read. It's such a fun read. The right amount of like steaminess, and it's just like a good time. Like I highly recommend it. Like, and you should read it. Personal opinion, but I personally also think that I'm 100% correct. I then have A Man Called Uwe by Fredrik Backman. I absolutely love Fredrik Backman. I first read this for a vlog I did trying out Fredrik Backman, mostly because my mother was like, Michaela, you need to read Fredrik Backman. So I did because I listened to my mother. And I finally bought this book recently because when I first read it, I absolutely adored it. And I needed to buy it because I wanted to reread it, and also because this is the only book I have ever wanted to actively annotate. I've never done it before, and I was like, you know what I need to do with this? I need to annotate this book, okay? Like, this book makes me laugh, this book makes me cry, this book makes me love, this book makes me everything. All of the emotions, the feels. If, like, be prepared, just not even the end, a whole book, just be prepared for this book, okay? It's the story of a grumpy old man and then the community that builds around him during this period of his life. And it's like the connections that are created, and it's so like witty. There's so much humor in it, but there's also so much like darkness and serious topics, and like the way Fredrik Backman writes is just so amazing. It's fabulous. It's amazing. I love this book. There's also a cat, and the cat is going to be your favorite character. Like, you're going to love the cat, okay? I love the cat. I'm so excited to read this again so I can read this. I need to get back to this. Like, I'm so excited to reread this book. And I don't think I've ever been this excited to reread a book in my life, because it's like, girl, you already know what happens. Like, you've already done this. Why are you so excited? And I'm like, because I want to live it again. I next up have Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This was one of my top reads from last year, and it is a mystery thriller with a time warp element, and it's done so well. It's telling the story of this mother who is staying up late to wait for her teenage son to get home. She looks out the window, she witnesses her son murder someone. She wakes up the next day and it's actually yesterday. It didn't happen. She then continues to go back in time. She goes to bed yesterday, she wakes up, it's the day before yesterday, and so on, so forth. She's slowly living her life in reverse. Everything she did the day before didn't actually happen because it's tomorrow. The day before is tomorrow. What? The reveals in this are so good. It keeps you hooked. The way it all comes together. Honestly, I need to reread this too. I do, because this is so good. After reading this, I basically went to everybody in my life and was like, you need to read this. You need to read this book. This book is so good. You need to read this book. You're going to have a great time. I think this is kind of one of those stories where it's like going to appeal to everyone. I don't know. It's just like the thrill it's so unique. And I also think it's so well written. And I need to read more Gillian McAllister, and I need to reread this book. And you need to read this book. If you haven't read this book, read this book. What are you doing? Get off the couch right now. Actually, don't. Finish this video, get off the couch, and I don't even know if you're on a couch. Finish this video, and then go read this book, okay? Thank you. Another favorite read from last year, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Love this book. Also, like, I kind of just, like, love the cover of this. Like, it's such a vibe. I feel like it really does a good job of, like, giving you the tone of the book. This book is not for everyone, but for the people who it is for, it's amazing. So it's a whodunit mystery, and it is isolated, snowstorm, we're locked in, it had to be one of us kind of whodunit mystery, okay? And the fun thing is that it's all, everybody's related. It's all from one family, okay? We're solving a murder, and it was somebody in the family. Only thing is, everybody in this family has already killed somebody before now. So it could be any of them. And so you're slowly learning the history of all of the characters from Ernest, the protagonist, telling the story. But it's also, like, told in this perspective where, like, the fourth wall is gone. Like, he is writing the book knowing that it's a book that you're reading, so he's, like, talking to you directly as the reader, which is so fun. And there's also, like, such dry, witty humor in this, which is exactly my kind of humor. That, like, dry, witty, dark kind of haha. It's amazing. Also a whodunit, so it's set up in a way where, like, you kind of maybe should be able to figure out and solve this mystery, but it's also written so well that, like, I didn't. I also wasn't, like, super trying to solve the mystery, so you can kind of just, like, ride along and have a good time. But highly recommend if that sounds like something you're into, because it's so good. This is now a series, and I'm really, I feel like I've said this before, but I'm really interested to see how this becomes a series, because the premise of this book kind of leaves you to feel like this is a standalone story. I don't know how more stories expand off of this one, but I am planning on reading the next book, which is what, Everyone on This Train is a Suspect, I think, and I'm probably gonna love that one just as much. But in the meantime, this right here, baby, she's good. The last favorite that I have is actually just a series. If you've been on my channel for a little while, I feel like you already know what I'm gonna say. It's Veronica Speedwell by Deanna Raybourn, okay? This is probably my favorite series that I'm currently reading, and I haven't even read all of them, and it's my favorite series, okay? Exactly. I've read the first 4 books, and I believe the 9th book is coming out this year. So if you want to get into something, I'm gonna give you books to keep reading. Like, if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to have to think about what you're gonna read next, so you like reading big series, like, this is one for you, okay? Because there's a lot to catch up on. But each of these books are pretty short, they're not too long, they're cozy historical mysteries, super fun, okay? You don't need to use too much of your brain to read this. It's a fun little cozy mystery, it's historical, the main characters, Veronica and Stoker, okay? You have 2 scientists, and Veronica is a badass, feminist, strong woman, and Stoker is, I don't know what to say. Like, he's like a hot pirate of a man. Like, isn't that enough to tell you? The cozy mystery thing, it's fun, it's great. But the slow burn romance, to die for, to die for. You're talking, like, friends to lovers who, like, want to refuse that they love each other for, like, books, multiple books. It's drawn out forever, and it's so good. The banter, the tension, the will they, the won't they, and they're solving mysteries in between. Amazing. I have to say, like, A Curious Beginning, the first book, was my favorite book until I read A Dangerous Collaboration. And girlies, this book is going to change everything for you. This is a big book in the series, you know, of importance. It's great, it's amazing, it's fantastic. You need to read it. I think, like, in terms of mystery, the first book has the most interesting, intriguing kind of mystery, and then it also, like, that mystery helps to set up further things, not further mysteries necessarily, but just, like, it solidifies things for both, like, the plot and the characters going forward in the series, and then you just keep solving more mysteries, okay? It's so good, it's so fun, it's fantastic, you need to read it. This is your assigned reading material from my channel. It's Veronica Speedwell. You're welcome, honestly. It's a gift. Take it. Those are some of my most favorite books, and it was really fun to just sit here and talk about some of my most favorite books. And I hope you also enjoyed hearing me talk about some of my most favorite books, and I hope maybe it made you decide to pick up some of these books, and I hope that you end up loving these books. So, you know, If you did like this video, make sure to give it a like, give it a little thumbs up. And if you haven't like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you. Be sure to comment down below if I've convinced you to read any of these books, or if you've already read some of these books, definitely let me know your own thoughts on them. Do you also love them? You better. And with that, I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!